welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day, and thanks for being here with me. Thanks for subscribing and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate all the support. So today we're going to be doing a mixed media project using the Trace Jolie March mixed media kit. And in this kit, you get a couple of different acrylic paints, a black and a burgundy. You get a green paint and a yellow paint. And then you also get this rust color powder paint, which I used for some of the tags that I did on the card kit. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it for you here in this video and at the end of this video. The other thing you get is 2 sheets of printed paper, and then you get a canvas. And so we're going to be using these, and I think we're going to be using this one here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start off with, I am just ripping the paper, and I'm going to rip this to where it can fit on top of the canvas nicely. And so I'm just kind of making some jagged edges and such, and we're going to rip all the way around it. So just trying to make sure that I kind of preserve the birds and the flowers down below, and just making this into a really nice little canvas. Next, I'm going to go ahead and grab a scratch piece of paper, place that under my image, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab my walnut stain and ink around the whole thing. So that way it makes more like a vintage look. Okay, so here I'm just sharing a few slides where I'm going to be inking all around the entire piece after you tear it, and you're just going to use your walnut stain. Next, we're going to grab that powdered rust, like a brown paint that's in the mixed media kit, and you're going to pour some on top of a little mat or a cup or whatever you've got, and you're going to add some water to this. Now, just add a few little, you know, little pieces of water, little spoonfuls of water, and then I'm going to go ahead and mix this all around. Once you get the paint all mixed in really well, you're going to go ahead and paint this on top of your canvas. And I went ahead and switched to a sponge large applicator and just went ahead and brushed it all over the canvas. And then I'm also going to be doing the sides of the canvas. So you can just go ahead and paint this on. I'm not doing it, evenly or anything, but you just want to make sure that you brush it all over your canvas, and then set this aside and let it dry for a minute. Okay, so next I went ahead and poured some of my art glitter glue into a little area to brush on, and I noticed that it still wasn't sticking down as well. So then I tried this all over, and then I decided to go ahead and just lift it up and place the glue on top of the canvas, and then just go ahead, spread it out, and then lay down the little image on top of the glue, and it adhered much better. So you're just going to go ahead, lay your glue down on top of the canvas and where you want it underneath your image, and you're just going to go ahead and brush that on underneath. Once you do that, you'll go ahead and burnish it down really good so it sticks. Okay, so next we're going to go and do our clear gesso on here. So you can just grab your clear gesso, and you can purchase that at any hobby store, or you can purchase that over at Walmart. And it's just clear gesso. You're going to brush this on. It comes out white, but it dries clear on top of your images. So I use this a lot, and especially when I'm going to paint on top of an image that is printed or anything like that. So after that dries a little bit, or while it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink around the image so that way it looks like it was already on there and it was part of the canvas. So I'm just inking around it to make the sides of it darkened. And you're just going to keep doing that all along the edge of your image so it's clearly visible on the canvas. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and grab this pink, it's like a powdered paint. This is by Paint Couture. It was in one of our mixed media kits previously. So I put that in one of my little areas here on my little painting easel. And I went ahead and placed some yellow paint on there. And then we're going to grab the green paint. Now the yellow and green paint are in your mixed media kit. You're just going to place those on top of there. You're going to go ahead and add some water to the pink powder and kind of mix it up. And then I grabbed some smaller paint brushes and just started painting where I wanted the paints. Again, you want to wait till your canvas after you place the clear gesso on top is dry. Then you can go ahead and paint your images. And I just started, like I said, painting wherever I wanted. You can look up where or what colors are in a hummingbird. And so hummingbirds are my favorite animal, and I just love them so much, as well as elephants. Those of you that know me, I love elephants and I love hummingbirds. And so those are my two. I feel like those are my spirit animals. I don't know why, but I just feel like they're just one of my spirit animals. And so I went ahead and just painted my hummingbirds, like I saw in my mind. And you can do the same thing. So, and then once I did that, I went ahead and just started coloring them all over and painting them. Now I did flick my paintbrush a little bit to create the wings. So you see me just kind of, painting and flicking the brush a little bit there. And that's how I got my wings to be done. So once I was done with the green, I came back in and I grabbed some of the yellow. Now I started painting this bird with the yellow. It was a little too thick for me. So I kind of, I blended it up to the green and just added some more water, kind of watered it down a little bit, and then added it where the rest of the yellow where I wanted. I did use a napkin to kind of help dab off some of the yellow. So it kind of blended in more into the green and the pink areas where I wanted it. And it does help to go ahead and use a little paper napkin and just kind of blot out where you want the paint to kind of mix in with each other. And that's just something that I've learned. And so, yeah, so you'll just go ahead and blot that in. And then you can go ahead and this large one here, at first I was like really worried about how it was going to turn out. But after I was done with it, just because it is bigger than the other ones and I'm not used to doing big images like this, but I really like how it turned out. And so, yeah, so I hope you guys are enjoying this little video. So I am really not much of a painter like this, and this is actually something that I was really nervous in doing because I've never really painted images like this before. So, but it was really fun to get out of my comfort zone and just try it. And so just kind of, did what I felt and just kind of winged it. So um, so here I am flicking again the paintbrush to create the wings, and I was really surprised how good it turned out. I mean, it's not like professional, but it's something that I thought turned out pretty good, and I hope you guys are enjoying it and some of the tricks and tips that I'm giving you. So once we're done painting the images, I came back in with a black pointed marker, and I went ahead and just colored in the beak darker, the eyes, the feet, and some areas where I wanted more a pronounced black area. And that really helps highlight, like I said, the beak and the eyes and everything. And So I really do suggest once you're done painting your images that you do this. So next we're just going to go ahead and add on our flowers. Now these flowers are actually from the scrapbook kit for March, and these are just perfect for this rustic and vintage looking piece that we're doing here. And I really like the fact that these flowers you can maneuver and you can go ahead and change them to fold down the petals the way that you want, and the your glue, your adhesive sticks really nice to these flowers. So I went ahead and used my paste glue, and I went ahead and just placed that on the back of the flowers and then was able to adhere everything on. So next I used this piece of chipboard from the Trace Jolie shop. This was a piece that was in an earlier or previous kit, and I went ahead, and I'll leave the link down below if you want to get one of these. I just thought this piece went perfectly with this particular image sheet because of the little, has the same little image right there, right where I stuck it. Then I went ahead and add glue to the back of that metal piece and just adhered that on. And then I went ahead and also stuck some brads in there as well. So, and those brads are from my stash. So next I went ahead and used these two little pieces. I did keep some of the stems on. I twisted them really well together, and then I cut them apart, and then I glued them down. So now they're not apart. They're apart now. They're not together. But I went ahead and had a little bit left of the stem and just twisted the stem because it is a wire stem and you're able to do that. So I went ahead and did that, and now I'm going to go ahead and glue those back on. And I just thought that that looked really nice around that chipboard image. And then I'm going to go ahead and place a flower there. And I did think that this kind of was one-sided. Usually I try to do flowers like on opposite sides, but the bird was in the way, so I couldn't stick it on the left-hand side. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick some other things on the left-hand side to kind of even it out, so it's not just one-sided. And that way, it doesn't look kind of full on one side and then empty on the other side. You want to have balance to your canvases, if you're using any type of florals or any type of embellishments. So here I went ahead and cut this message out from the chipboard, or not from the chipboard, from the scrapbook kit. It has these words in there, and so I went ahead and used these and just cut them out and placed them on top of there. I thought that these words were really nice. And so, yeah, so you could do that. And then again, here's this chipboard piece. Now I do go ahead and I paint this because I didn't want it to, be just the regular chipboard color. So I went ahead and painted it black. And I just used my, you can use black paint or you can use gesso. So I used black gesso to paint it. And the black gesso came in a previous kit as well. If I can find these kits and if they are still available, having all of the extra items that I'm using from other previous kits, I will definitely list those down below so you can check those out. It's nice to have black gesso so you can go ahead and use that when you need to on a chipboard piece. And then I went ahead, once it was dry, I went ahead and placed some glue on the back of that chipboard. And then we're going to glue this down on the left-hand side, just like that. Now the glue that I'm using is clear, so it will dry clear. You won't be able to see it. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick a flower right in that little corner down there. Next, I'm going to grab my glue. I'm going to mix some glue and my art stones together, and I'm going to place these down. And I'm just using my little brush here to place the art stones down. And then we're going to place these all over, and you can place these anywhere you want, wherever you feel it's going to look, cover up space or whatever you want, what look you're looking for. And then we're going to go ahead, and that brown paint that we used for the canvas, we're going to mix some more of that, and you're going to paint over your art stones with that. So that way it creates a really nice, cohesive element to your canvas. And I really think that this brings everything together. I was going to place gold on them, but then I decided not to. I think it looks really good, and it makes it look really vintage, and just makes it look really nice using that brown paint, and it makes everything look cohesive. And you can go ahead and add more if you want to, let it dry, and then add more later. And now we're done with our canvas. Okay, y'all, so we finished our canvas, and I think it turned out pretty cool. I think it turned out pretty cute, and I really like it. I used a couple of things from past kits, and I will go ahead and link those down below if they are still available to you, okay? And so one of the things from the past kits is this beautiful pink sapphire Perfect Pigment by Paint Couture. This is a powder that we mix with water. I used those on the birds. And then, of course, we used our beautiful paints, the yellow and the green. And then I used this beautiful chipboard piece that you can find in the chipboard area on the Trace Jolie site. I also used the powder, the rust powder, around the little stones. Okay, and these are art stones that we got in another kit. And if, like I said, if it's still available, I will definitely link it down below. I used another chipboard piece that you can find at the store, and it's so beautiful. And then we used, from the scrapbook kit, we used the flowers, the metal piece right here, and these words here. And yeah, so I think it all came together so beautifully. And basically it says, look for magic, and nature never goes out of style. So I just think that this turned out so pretty, and I love the little sparkly, kind of like that beautiful little translucent look on the birds. It's really pretty. And so I hope that I gave you some ideas and some inspiration to try this with your mixed media. And again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Take care, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye! Thanks for joining me today, y'all. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and head on over to Trace Jolie to check out their shop. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment, and join me Friday nights at 4:30 Central Time.